You are listening to KSG podcast. This is a short, crisp, concise, exam-oriented, edited editorial for civil services aspirants. In this podcast, we are going to talk about Minerals Security Partnership or MSP. Source for the content is Mihir Mishra's article for the Indian Express. As part of a global China plus one strategy adopted post the COVID-19 pandemic that caused massive supply chain disruptions, a group of Western nations are cooperating to develop alternatives to China to ensure key industrial supplies. A new US-led partnership initiative of 11 nations aims to bolster critical mineral supply chains. India is not part of this arrangement, called the Minerals Security Partnership or MSP, but New Delhi is working through diplomatic channels to fetch an entry. Now, what is the Minerals Security Partnership or MSP? The US and 10 partners, Australia, Canada, Finland, France, Germany, Japan, the Republic of Korea, that is South Korea, Sweden, the United Kingdom, and the European Commission have come together to form the MSP. The new grouping is aimed at catalyzing investment from governments and the private sector to develop strategic opportunities. The US State Department said in a statement that the demand for critical minerals, which are essential for clean energy and other technologies, are projected to expand significantly in the coming decades. The MSP will help catalyze investment from governments and the private sector for strategic opportunities across the full value chain that adhere to the highest environmental, social, and governance standards. Now, the new grouping, industry insiders say, could focus on the supply chains of minerals such as cobalt, nickel, lithium, and also the 17 rare earth minerals. The alliance is seen as primarily focused on evolving an alternative to China, which has created processing infrastructure in rare earth minerals and has acquired mines in Africa for elements such as cobalt. Now, what are rare earth elements? The 17 rare earth elements or REE include the 15 lanthanides plus scandium and yttrium. REEs are classified as light Re elements and heavy Re elements. Some REEs are available in India, such as lanthanum, cerium, neodymium, praseodymium, and samarium, etc. Others, such as dysprosium, terbium, and europium, which are classified as HREEs, are not available in Indian deposits in extractable quantities. Hence, there is a dependence on countries such as China for HREEs, which is one of the leading producers of REEs with an estimated 70% share of the global production. According to the US Geological Survey, supplies from China had started to become erratic as early as 1990 as Beijing kept changing the amounts that it would allow to be produced and exported. Also allowed to the USGS, the Chinese government began to limit the number of companies, both Chinese and Sino-foreign joint ventures, that could export REEs from China. Now, why are these minerals important? Minerals like cobalt, nickel, and lithium are required for batteries used in electric vehicles. REEs are an essential, although often tiny, component of more than 200 consumer products, including mobile phones, computer hard drives, electric and hybrid vehicles, semiconductors, flat screen TVs, and monitors. India is seen as a late mover in attempts to enter the lithium value chain, coming at a time when EVs are predicted to be a sector ripe for disruption. The year 2022 is likely to be an inflection point for battery technology, with several potential improvements to the Li-ion technology, with the alternatives to this tried and tested formulation being in advanced stages of commercialization. India has an ambitious plan to convert a large percentage of its transport to electric and would require these minerals. According to the plan, 80% of the country's 2 and 3-wheeler fleet, 40% of buses, and 30 to 70% of cars will be EVs by 2030. Now, finally, what is India's major concern at this moment? An economist said, and I quote here, if India is not able to explore and produce these minerals, it will have to depend on a handful of countries, including China, to power its energy transition plans to electric vehicles. That will be similar to our dependence on a few countries for oil, unquote. Industry watchers say that the reason India would not have found a place in the MSP grouping is because the country does not bring any expertise to the table. In the group, countries like Australia and Canada have reserves and also the technology to extract them, and countries like Japan have the technology to process REEs. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. To join KSG India courses and to crack the IELTS exam, visit ksgindia.com. You can also get a PDF of this podcast on ksgindia.com.